what I love to see there is ugly paint and nasty carpet.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Doug Rogers. It's August 16th.
And I'm Russell Rogers. We're the Rogers team from Keller Williams Southlake. Let's talk DFW real estate. Doug, what are you seeing out there?
Well, I've got an update for listings for this week. We're going to do this every week to kind of give you an idea of the volume of listings, how many are coming on the market, and how many are going off the market. So we're going to break it down to what we call the big four. Keller, Colleyville, Southlake, that marketplace added 29 listings this week. 32 went under contract. Currently, there's 288 listings in that marketplace. Flower Mound, Capel, Highland Village in the last week, they added 17 listings, had 18 go off the market under contract. Total listings in that marketplace currently is 224. Frisco, Plano, that's our biggest marketplace so far as volume and population. Last 7 days, they've added 68 listings. 71 went under contract this week. They have a total listing supply there of 686. The Alliance Corridor had 61 new listings. 35 went under contract, which is a smaller number if you watch that comparison to the others. Normally, they've been very close to the number that came on the market and the number that went off the market. So the volume there was pretty high of new listings, but not that many selling. And 393 total listings there. Now, one thing that's interesting is all of these houses, all these neighborhoods have about a month and a half supply of listings. In other words, if you take the last 3 months, for example, Grapevine, Colleyville, Keller, Southlake sold 545 homes over the last 90 days. If you divide that by 3, that's about 182 a month, and that's a 1.6 month supply. Now, normally that is 100% on the seller's favor because when you get to 3 months supply, 4 months supply, 6 months supply, that favors the buyers. It's still a seller's market, but for some reason it seems like the volume of new listings is getting smaller and smaller. So far as mortgage rates, they're going up. They're still inching up. They were up last week, and they're up again this week. A 30-year fixed is hovering nationally at 7.34, 15-year fixed, 6.68, 30-year jumbo, 7.29, 5-1 ARMs, 7.15, 30-year FHA, 7%, VA, about the same. Now, here's something I had come across my desk today. I printed this off. This is from an email I got from a builder who will go nameless in this case because it's kind of a silly ad. It says 4.99%. What a bargain. Let's get one of those. Well, I sent it over to one of my favorite lenders, and he read the fine print. I skipped the fine print. He read the fine print. Now, the fine print says this number was good on July 25th. It's not July 25th anymore. And there's only so many points a buyer and seller can contribute back and forth to create a loan. So today, the max that could probably get bought down to is 5.625. And that's not 4.99. That's a little bit higher. So I did the math and did some studying on this and came up with an idea. If you had a choice of buying a $600,000 house and getting the 5.625 going rate today, or you just took the $32,000 off the list price and you bought a house for $568,000 and took a rate at 7.25, which would be better? Well, 3 years from now, if you bought down the rate, your loan balance would be $459,925, $460. If you just took the money and put 20% down off of 568, your loan balance 3 years from now would be $440. Now, you would have made $12,000 more in interest payments, but you saved $20,000. But again, you put down about $7,000 less. So in a sense, you made $22,000 by not taking their deal. So don't take the deal. Take the money. That's what I found in that fun ad today. So that's out there all over the place. Now, today we promised that we'd talk a little bit about getting your house ready for sale and getting buyers the right perspective in looking at houses. So Russell, what are you seeing on looking at houses?
Yeah, so on the buyer perspective, there's really 2 scenarios that I like to think about, and I've thought more about this since we talked about it last week, but there's the first scenario, which I think you're going to go over, which is basically how to prepare your house perfectly to have it sell and for a fair value and basically get top dollar. And then those houses you don't want to really play games on. You know, you have to always look at the scenario, the comps, everything. But those are the ones you're gonna, if it's your house and you love it and it's your dream home, those aren't the ones that are going to be wanting to like kind of hunt and get these great deals on. I mean, you try to get a good deal and low price, but not really play the negotiation game the same because of fear of losing out, because the value of that house is more to you than this scenario too. Now, if you're looking to get a deal on a house, so that's my kind of buyer. You've bought houses with me before. You know, I like to save money on the house and to get it for lower than I think it's worth, and therefore build that cushion for myself with equity. And that's the scenario too. And what I like to see there is, it's actually kind of funny that what I love to see there is ugly paint and nasty carpet. So there was that, even the house in Fort Worth that we bought that we didn't know at the time had fleas, but we were going to replace it anyway. Kind of a funny story there. We'll tell another time. But I love to see yellow canary yellow paint in the kitchen, and carpet that definitely needs to be replaced and has stains all over it, because I know, although they're very cheap fixes, flooring being more expensive than paint, but I'm going to paint it myself. You know, for $4,500 on like a 1,800 square foot house, I can basically flip the look of that house for very cheaply. However, those kind of houses are going to sit because a lot of people don't even want to do the work of just doing those two easy cosmetic fixes. So those are the kind of houses I'm looking for. And also, you know, I'm pinning down the area and the type of house I want, and then I'm looking at those and saying, this, even in the pictures, you get to the kitchen picture, you know, everybody's looking at that. Everybody loves to have a great kitchen, and you got that canary yellow with some terrible backsplash or something, or even everything looks great, but they just painted it a funky color. I love that because I know they're going to get less buyers just from that. And that's like a $50 fix that is a Saturday at Home Depot kind of a project that can really update that kitchen for very cheaply. And I can get a good deal on it because I don't have to go compete the same as I would with an immaculate house. And then the nasty carpet, you know, you can get that changed out with the flooring companies very easily. You can get quotes very easily. Flooring companies are a dime a dozen these days, and you can really get some good competitive quotes and get that fixed. And people don't always go and try to buy those houses for those very easy fixes. Now it's got to be worth it to you. You know, you can't just save $2,000 on the house and then pay $4,500 to get it fixed. But if they're not getting offers, and it's getting later and later in the summertime, like we talked about last week, and they're not getting offers and they're coming down their price, and now they're 90 days on market and they still have those two problems, that's one where I'm coming in below market, making an offer and getting that instant equity out of it. And I think with these rising interest rates, and we don't really know what's going to happen with housing prices moving forward, I think that's a good option for a lot of people, especially first-time home buyers or whatever the case is. If you just have that little bit of money in your pocket, or you can get seller concessions to get those repairs done. And you know, I've had that done several times just myself. And then another thing I had mentioned is the 90 days on market. We're looking at the history and the specifics of that house. We're attacking it like we're doing due diligence, like we always would, but it's kind of got a little bit of a twist because you're trying to get that deal. And that's going to include, if it's been on market for a long period of time, we're looking at that. We've looked at anything where it's been canceled and put back on market, or any other kind of interesting situation there. And then we're also going to look at maybe the production of that agent. And we'll talk about this here in a second, but if their production's down for this year, maybe they're desperate and they may not be as objective as they should be.
I think we should do a whole show about that next week.
Well, that sounds like a good idea, because I think we have a lot of input on that, on some of the things that we've seen that are incorrect.
And we'll just call it the 5 reasons you should fire your real estate agent.
I think that's a great idea. So that's kind of wraps that up in terms of what I'm hunting for. There's a lot more to it, but I don't want to let all of my tricks out of the bag. So I'll turn it over to you to talk about sellers.
Okay, well, let's talk about the selling side. First question is, how high is the bar? Because the bar changes day to day, year to year, month to month. It's always a little different. And it's also dependent upon your location in your neighborhood. And every bar is a little higher or a little lower. So let's go back to 2008, 9, right there with the market crash. The bar was really high. We were having to do everything: paint, carpet, countertops, do everything that we could to sell your house, because it was so difficult. There were too many houses on the market, not enough buyers. The market was horrible, and the bar was extremely high. 2 years ago, the bar was so low you could lay it on the ground and just step over it. You could have 10 Great Danes living in the kitchen, and it wouldn't have mattered. You could still sell your house. So what we really want to focus on is, how many houses are you competing against? The days on the market for the houses that have sold recently, and the list to sell ratio. So if they're selling for 100% of list price, then the bar is going to be a little bit lower. But we really want to establish kind of a range there of to where your house is going to sell and how fast. But if we're looking at the simplest things and the most logical things and the easiest things, it's carpet and paint. Or let's rephrase that and say flooring and paint. A mom who looks at a house who has small kids and their kids are going to be crawling on that floor and playing on that floor and the toys are going to be on that floor, they want to know it's clean. They want to know that it's immaculate and it's in good condition. So sometimes the easiest fix is just to go ahead and replace the carpet or put some new floors in, wood floors, whatever it is. But here's a real key important thing. You got to remember this. If you've got an $800,000 house, do not get Home Depot carpet. You've got to get carpet or flooring that's comparable to the price range that you're selling. Don't go cheap. Go mid-range. Go to the range that is comparable to the house and the price range that you're in, because you can actually lose money by putting cheap carpet in an expensive house. Now, if it's a rental property that's going to be in the $150 to $250 range, well, yeah, go to Home Depot, get something that's clean and tight and looks good, and throw it in there. Now, neutralizing things. Every now and then you've got an immaculate house that's in great condition and you decided you watch one too many TV shows on HGTV about painting the room red or purple or green. Well, it's time to change it back to tan or gray or white, whatever. The pictures will actually hurt you and you'll lose showings if you've got too many really creative colors throughout the house. Fun little things you can do that don't cost you a whole lot of money. Stain the front door, paint the front door, clean the front door, clean the entryway, put in some mulch, throw in some flowers. None of that costs very much, but it does create an expectation of a positive vision of the house as you walk in. Now, recently, I had a rental property that had horrible stains in the garage. The garage had a lot of oil stains, and it looked horrible. It looked like 100 years old. The house was built in the 70s. So I went to Lowe's, bought a $185 kit, spent about another $100 on supplies and things, and for $300 it went from horrible to looking brand spanking new on that floor. You could eat off that floor once the epoxy was dry. So again, it changed the age and vision of that house overnight. Little things you can do, just takes a little bit of time and effort, and there's handymen and painters all over town to be happy to take you up on painting your house or painting the floor or staining the front door. Got your landscaping guy to spruce up the entryway. So there's a couple of ideas just to throw out now. From a big picture, do we have to do the kitchen? Do we have to update the kitchen, put new granite? If you got Formica, maybe. If you've got granite that's black, you might want to put white in, because you will actually find that you'll increase the value of your home in that price range. And we do have contractors that we can recommend to put in new countertops, new backsplash, new tile floors. And it's just, you don't need a contractor. You just need a phone number and a checkbook. So, Russell, that's my ideas for sprucing up a house, getting it ready for sale.
Yeah, so that gives you that first scenario I was discussing. So once you get all that done, it's going to be looking great. And that first group's not going to be playing these games, like I mentioned, trying to get these great deals on it. Now, they still may come under list price. There's stuff like that. But they're going to be worried about losing your house, where the competition in that second scenario, they're not going to be worried about losing it. They're going to be really aggressive on negotiating down. So I think that's kind of the dichotomy there. So I think that's all we have for this week. So it sounds like we got a topic for next week.
Yeah, 5 reasons why you need to fire your realtor.
So thanks for joining us for today, and we'll see you next week.